What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your daily horoscope for Friday, January 15th, 2021. Brian here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Well, it's Friday, it's Venus Day. Venus isn't really aspecting much. If we want to look at that planet first, it's going to be at 9 degrees of Capricorn. Came off some trines, doing her thing. I think that we're looking for what's stable when it comes to our values and when it comes to reality, and also looking at like where we can go and what we can achieve. The sun is going to come to 26 degrees of Capricorn today, so it's within that last 5 degrees of, the end of Capricorn here. So came off Pluto. I think we've been undercover, in a sense of trying to figure out this structure, trying to figure out our goals, our future, plan ahead on things and what makes sense in this structure of this physical world that we live in. And in a sense, it gets edgy here. It's like, it gets tiring. If you look at Capricorn as like the mountain, in a sense, these last few degrees of Capricorn are like, we're almost to the top. We can feel like a lot's gone on in our lives, whether it's personal lives or for the collective. And, we can see the peak, but we can't give up. So this is like definitely a day to push, I would say. These last few degrees and till the sun comes into Aquarius on the 19th, which is even kind of weird in itself. And Aquarius is kind of weird. Usually the sun comes into Aquarius on the 20th, but because of the leap year last year, it's the 19th. So I think it's almost like we see this weird finish line, this weird top coming, and it's like we got to push to get there, but what's on the other side, we don't know. And I think that's, part of the beauty of life, part of the beauty of reality is we don't know what exactly is next. And I think that the more we can embrace that, in a sense of still reaching our goals, still pushing to the top, still getting where we need to go and getting these things done in our life, we can find some sense of security and structure and sense of like our own being. But we're in a time where, Jupiter is going to come to 6 degrees of Aquarius, and it is within a degree of the square to Uranus in Taurus. Mars is at 4 degrees of Taurus. Jupiter's still coming off that square, so we're still feeling that with Mars too. Just reality feels a little weird. It feels a little slow. I think maybe there's this expectance of like things to be moving faster right now, but we're kind of in this like this time's just slowed down, and I think we're looking to, reach things really quick and get like resolution of like what Pluto and the sun was going to uncover for us. And today's just one of those days. That moon's going to finish up in Aquarius, and it's very void of course. It's really not making too many aspects. It is going to finish the day. It's going to come into Pisces towards the end of the day. It is going to make a couple sextiles to Mars and Uranus. I think this moon in Pisces is going to be very sensitive. I think we're in sensitive times. And especially with Neptune semi-square Jupiter, semi-square Saturn, semi-square Mars, and coming off the big semi-square to Uranus that we've been going through over the last year, I think we're just in this weird sensitive place of feeling, we could just feel very spelled. We can feel very unsure. We can feel very like not knowing what exactly is real in life. What are the values that the collective is trying to figure out? And there's just this uncertainty and this sensitivity too. But Mars, and the moon are I think it is the steadiness of our persistence to go after what we do value as individuals, what we do value that makes us feel free in this world. There's something beautiful there that I think we can feel towards the end of the day. And with the moon sextiling Uranus at the end of the day too, which Uranus is direct now. So that was yesterday, and I forgot to put that in the horoscope, but I've been talking about it for the last week. So you guys probably remember me saying January 14th. And then somehow January 14th comes around, and guess what? I don't even mention it. It's funny how things work, and I think we're in those times where we could expect something so much to go a certain way, and it's just not gonna go a certain way. And I think there's still this persistence and this steady drive towards something that makes us feel like a part of the mission, a part of something bigger that we just have to keep going for. We have to keep pushing in that direction. And if things don't go the way that you might have planned, well, that's okay. I think we just need to be able to, forgive or forgive ourselves when things don't go according to plan, forgive other people. I think the more we expect things to look a certain way, the more we expect people to act a certain way, the more we're going to be let down a little bit. Or just we're not going to get what we were looking for. And then it can feel like all that work to get to the top, to get to this finish line of something in our life just wasn't there. So we're in interesting times. I think it's just, there's definitely a sensitivity this week with so many heavy aspects from Uranus and Saturn, Jupiter, Mars. And then we have Mercury in shadow. It came into shadow last night at 11 degree 1 minute of Aquarius. So if you're not familiar with the shadow period, this is where Mercury is going to come back to when it retrogrades. So Mercury's going to retrograde at 26 degrees of Aquarius on January 30th. And it's going to come all the way back to 11 degrees 1 minute of Aquarius, which I think is very fascinating that it enters shadow at 11-1-1-1-1. I think there's definitely a synchronicity from the universe there. I think we need to look at, the ultimate empowerment and find the divinity and find something that really does ground us in such a weird world, such a weird reality that we live in. And I think our minds can be in weird places for all sorts of different aspects of the world, of the reality. How can we ground? How can we, make sense of it and still push forward and innovate today? This is a day too when Mercury enters shadow. It does start the retrograde process. So Mercury's going to start slowing down, and this is where you can start seeing effects of Mercury retrograde. So we need to pay attention to electronics. I'd say especially with Aquarius, it's very electronic. Mercury, same. When Mercury goes retrograde, there can be electronics, cars. Things can go a little haywire here, and we have to look at why they might be. We need to maybe back some things up, keep some things in mind, pay attention to what comes about, because you might have to go through it again. So these are important times to try to keep, try and stay sharp and just make sure that we're making the best decisions for ourselves and the life that we want to live. Try not to get into a weird place mentally. I think that's, one of the biggest tests right now is there's so much going on in the paradigm of our reality right now that with politics, COVID, all the things that are, the biggest deals, right? That the media pushes, that everybody's talking about. I think that, sure, that's a reality, right? But there's so much more to reality than just those things. And I think it's by looking at what we can innovate and looking at the mountains we can climb in our own life that kind of disconnect from that paradigm, you'll actually see more beauty, more, more forward movement where Mars and Taurus can already feel with these squares and with Uranus that it's just not going in the direction it wants to go, or that there's setbacks. And how can we push through? How can we find our ultimate values? I think Uranus coming online is definitely a big connection. We have all the planets direct now until January 30th when Mercury goes retrograde. So there is this like snapshot here over the next 15 days of we can make moves, but I think we're going to have to, get out of the sensitivities that are being projected on us by a strange reality. How can we do that? How can we push forward with what we've uncovered and look at the signs, look at the hints, and not give up? I think that's a big thing is like if, you don't think things are going your way, we just have to push forward and see what's on the other side. Because what's on the other side might be more beautiful than you could have ever imagined. And I think that's one of the beauties of Uranus is that just because you didn't imagine it doesn't mean it wasn't a good thing, doesn't mean it wasn't a beautiful thing, or even a valuable thing, or even something that brings you closer to yourself, something that ignites your senses and makes you feel really good here on a day like this. So let's see what the card is for the day. Yeah, the Five of Cups reversed. So I think maybe there's just been some sort of disappointments felt in life, maybe some sort of just let down kind of feelings of maybe apathy, And I think we're moving past that. I think that's the goal today, is to, look for what is beautiful in life. Look for like what's on the other side. Maybe we've been feeling heavy emotions, especially with the moon making hard squares in Aquarius and being kind of void of course. We might have been feeling a heaviness. And how can we push forward and not be disappointed by what comes up in reality, but look past that, look deeper, look for what truly drives us, look for what really makes us feel good and connected to ourselves and to others in life. What is the stable things in life that you can fall back on, be it a friend, a family member, a relationship, or just, that inner knowing within yourself that you can always fall back on and feel at home and feel secure. And I think there's something beautiful about that, because we're not at this alone. And sometimes some of the most beautiful things come when we're alone. But it's often so, if you get into too much of an alone place and you're not in a good place, within yourself, those alone times can be the hardest. And I just, we don't want to feel alone. So let's see what we can do to express ourselves, to feel secure through very sensitive times. And try and look at the beauty that we can move forward with, instead of hyper focusing on what isn't beautiful, what isn't moving in the direction you'd like. But take the little steps today to reach the goals. Take the little steps to uncover what you want to make this life about for yourself. The collective is experiencing a lot, but we are all individuals that make up the collective, and it is through individual consciousness, shifting perspectives and shifting paradigms, that it resonates and it vibrates out, and the collective shifts perspectives too. So how can we, in a sense, make our lives better, make our lives great, and have that stable structure of the values, of the freedom that we want to see within our own lives, and see if that, maybe that's the unpredictable key to all this, is that if we just focus on our own self and not get lost in the chaos of the projection of the world, that the world might shift and change in our favor, and we won't be left feeling disappointed, but we'll be left knowing that we beat the disappointment, and we ended up finding truth, and we ended up finding sovereignty and beauty and love, most importantly. I love you guys all very much. I hope you enjoyed the horoscope. I hope you had a great week. I will see you for the weekend report tomorrow, and that's a wrap. Peace.